Hi, Sharif.
Hey, Greg. How's it going?
Hey, good. Sorry for being late. I've been back to backs and was dying for water. So
Yeah, no worries. I know I've got my coffee, so I know how it can be, especially middle of the week.
I'm running on one cup of coffee today. So if I yawn, I'm sorry.
It's all good. All good.
Where are you calling it from?
Calling him from Phoenix, Arizona.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice, nice.
What about
Probably
you?
jealous of the weather. I'm in New York. I'm
New
actually
York?
heading out. I'm actually heading out to Scottsdale.
Oh, nice.
For the first time in like the middle of April.
Oh, nice. You're gonna have a blast. I've moved in probably like early fall this year, me and my fiance from Michigan. So literally like right before we left, we even went back for the holidays, like -5 degrees, snowy, gloomy, gray. So it's just nice being in the sun all the time. 70-degree weather is really nice.
Yeah, it must be nice. I've heard great things about that area. So I'm excited to go out there in April.
Yeah, you'll have a
Um,
blast.
Cool. Anyways, really excited to chat. Get to know you today. Typically, like the way I like to run these calls is I'll give you a quick background on myself, a little bit of the makeup of the team. Won't get too far into it right now. Hand the floor over to you. I'd love to learn more about you, who you are, what you're looking for. From there, I'm sure some questions are going to arise. If I interrupt, I apologize now. Big believer that interviews should be a two-way street. So just as much as we're looking for the right fit for Even Up, you're looking for the right fit for Sharif. So ideally, would love to leave like 10 to 15 minutes to ask me any questions that you have about the opportunity, the role, myself. Open book. Sound like a plan?
Love it, 100%.
Cool. So you see me looking over to my left. I'm the second screen. I'm just taking some notes. My name is Greg. I'm the SDR manager here at Even Up. I joined like a week before Thanksgiving. So I'm the first SDR manager here. Currently, I have a team of 8. When I joined, we had 5. We were at 9 SDRs. Fortunately for her, unfortunately for me, we promoted one of our SDRs on February last week
Oh,
into an
nice.
AE position. So yeah, I was bummed out that I don't get to work with her any longer. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm happy for her that she I call it graduating. That she became an AE rather quickly. Started my career as an SDR. From there, I had an opportunity to get my toes in leadership and at a very small scale, and I loved it. I was trying to think. I was talking to some mentors of mine about like what makes a successful SDR manager. What are some common qualities of those people? If you think about the traditional route, so not the only one. I've seen people go many different directions, but traditionally, most SDRs are going to go from SDR to AE.
Right.
My job is to develop the best salespeople I possibly can. So how do you develop people? Do the role yourself. Had an opportunity to become an AE, and then from there, wasn't looking. A UK-based marketing tech company reached out to me. They wanted to expand their US presence. So I joined there as an SDR manager. Grew the team from like 60 to 30 SDRs.
Wow.
Our US office went from like 25 to 175 rather quickly. So went through super hyper growth mode. And then was looking for a new challenge. So joined the company with 0 SDRs as an SDR manager. Doesn't make sense. I built out their outbound process, scaled that team to 7 SDRs. And then my wife and I moved to the suburbs, and the office was in South Jersey. It was like 2.5 hours each way. So I did that for like 2 months. And I said to my wife, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
So I started having conversations with the leadership team over at Even Up, and I fell in love, and I've been here ever since. Hope that kind of helps paint a little bit of a picture of me and where I come from. Would love to pass it over to you.
Yeah, sweet. So I'll go to pretty much kind of what I'm doing right now currently is senior sales role SDR at InstaWork. And InstaWork, they're a modern staffing platform. I started with them just about October-ish. So just finishing up the ramping period. I've been like beating quota for my entire ramp up period. And prior to joining InstaWork, I actually founded like my own virtual hiring agency. So really, I took a lot of the skills from the entrepreneurial, having to kind of manage other teams, manage other people, and then as well previously I worked at a like ad tech startup called Decide. So I stayed there for probably a year and a half. Started as an SDR, got promoted to an account executive. So similar kind of path of where I've worked these roles. I've worked in real estate sales roles where I was doing like 300 dials a day before that. and just progressed to SDR to AE, then kind of automated my own, staffing agency. And right now, I'm just looking for a new role, one that's fully remote. I've been in the hybrid one at InstaWork, and it's been good. A really big focus on personalization, being strategic, but I just feel I want to kind of make a transition to something that's going to challenge me as well. Something in where it's hyper growth, where there's a lot of opportunity, and then also that's a little less focused on staffing and more focused on something that's AI backed, just because the way I see things changing with the markets and just how outdated, especially like the legal process has been, and being with a company that's backed by AI and just modernizing that is definitely where I see myself.
Cool. Love that. Curious to understand a little bit more about current role at InstaWork. I'd love to dive a little bit deeper into like what does a day look like in Sharif's shoes?
Yeah, so day to day, doing about 50 dials a day outbound, and then anywhere from 20 to, I would say, 40 outbound emails. And I'm reaching out to C-level executives, so it may be a chief operating officer who's that decision maker. But when I'm mapping out my accounts, I'm multi-threading. So I'll kind of start with, say, a warehouse manager, ask around, seeing like, hey, are you guys dealing with turnover? We talked to X, Y, and Z warehouse down the street. We were able to help them staff these general labor roles. Just wanted to see, how are you looking at staffing this year? From there, I'll take whatever pain and I'll see how it impacts. Is it slowing down your service times? Do you have to bring in more people on overtime and you're burning out your workers? And then whatever that impact is that it has on the company, I'll bring that up to whoever's that regional GM or that operations officer, just depending on the company size. And from there, I'll go push for the meeting. So really just being strategic with those like 50 touches a day is what that looks like. And then when it comes to like metrics, quota has been, I believe I started with 3 qualified demos my month 1, month 2 was 5, and then month 3 and like thus forth is 7 qualified demos, and I believe I'm at 2 qualified deals completed as well, just in like my 3 months.
Cool. Awesome. Curious to know. So we're in the middle of the show. Not in the middle. We rolled it out. So previously to me joining, it was like 100% inbound. Right. The team
Right.
has grown. We have very lofty goals. Inbound can no longer support our sales team. So what does that mean for the SDR team? We have moved the SDR team from an inbound role to an outbound role. A lot of hunting. It's a big transition for the team, especially I call them like the OGs, right? The people who started before me. Curious to get your thoughts and understand your current process. How are you identifying accounts? How are you finding accounts? What does that look like today? What does the thought process go behind to like account identification?
Yeah, so when it comes to like just the sourcing, vetting, and like enrichment of my accounts, what I've seen success with is immediately when I started at InstaWork, I researched in our Salesforce, hey, what accounts are closing within the light industrial vertical? We have probably like 5 or 6 different verticals. I chose that one just because there was an opportunity for like multi-locations and larger deal sizes. And then from there, I shadowed like some of the account executives, got a pretty good picture of like, hey, these are the type of accounts that we've closed. This is what they were challenged with. So I took all of that information and then put it into like a corresponding Zoom info search, as well like LinkedIn Sales Nav of companies based on like similar revenue, similar like head count, employee count, and then as well just in like similar locations. So even sometimes I'll just pull up Google Maps, like, hey, we've been able, and literally look, this is a warehouse, see what other warehouses are in 5-10 mile radius and source them that way. But just basing it off of, hey, this is what we've seen success with. And then I'll use that as social proof when I'm actually sending out the personalized email or picking up the phone and let them know like, hey, these were the partners we worked with. I actually spoke with this GM. Maybe you know them. This is how we were able to help them. Does that sound familiar? So that's kind of what my process has been when it comes to sourcing, of just kind of piggybacking off of like your previous wins.
Awesome. Cool. Uh, so clearly, right, you're at Insta looking for something new, right? You mentioned one of the things that doesn't work for you is the hybrid model, right?
Right.
We've all been in different shoes of like, hey, like this company's not providing me X, I'm looking for Y. What are you looking for in a role? Like, what are some of your non-negotiables?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, biggest thing, like I said, is just that remote flexibility. Just with the traffic, it can get up to an hour drive. Some days it's a little shorter, some days a little bit longer. And then as well, I mean, being that you guys are fast growing, I definitely would want to do something similar where I'm shadowing maybe an account executive paired closely with some other reps who have seen success. Just so one, if you guys are using Gong or whatever sales loft, I can listen to their calls, see what talk tracks they're using, and then really just support. So being able to shadow their calls, like live demos I'm setting, and then as well when it comes to just learning social proof, hearing like case studies, hearing client testimonials. That's the biggest thing that I definitely would be looking for.
Cool. Love that. A couple more questions, and then I'm just keep my eye on the time. So I promise you time. What motivates you, right? What gets you out of bed?
Yeah, so what motivates me is, like I mentioned, me and my fiance, we just moved out here. So really just want to start, reaching our goals and looking after like our family. So that's really what motivates me is just, I've always had a love for sales. I attribute it to my father. I started working with him when I was about 14 years old. He's done real estate for probably 30, 40 years. And I would used to take the properties that he would get, like tax foreclosure, throw them on Craigslist, take a couple calls and get a couple $100 at like 14, 15 is a lot. So I've also always had a love for sales and just a passion for like, hey, let me see, what problems you're facing. How can I serve as a solution, and how can we build this relationship so that there's, long-term way for us to both benefit and sharpen each other.
For sure. I think family is a big motivator, right? And something that motivates me. And I had this conversation in my interview here. It's like, at some point, my wife and I are going to start to think about expanding our family and having kids. And there's definitely a lifestyle that I want my kids to be able to live, right?
Yeah.
And I want them to be able to enjoy an extracurricular activity, right? Whether that's sports, music, dance. Like I want them to be able to enjoy that without having to worry about providing for the family.
Yeah.
Right. I want them to be able to go to educate themselves and be able to go to college. And if I could support that, and then it's a huge win for myself. So
Huge
definitely
win.
something that motivates. It's
Especially
probably
if
my
you
biggest
can
motivator.
be there too, and especially like a 2-hour drive. It's like if they do have those extracurriculars, it's hard. Those games start early some days.
For sure. Just a couple more questions. I think I have 3 or 4 more. We'll try and get through them pretty quickly. One of my things is I'm big into feedback, right? And that's both giving feedback and receiving feedback, right? I'll give you an example, right? Not everyone can be coached the same, right? So I know that, and I know that from experience, right? It's my management style is based off of the managers I did not like, because I always say I don't want to be like them. I didn't like them for a reason. And if I didn't like them, other people don't like them.
Yeah.
And one of those, me personally, I couldn't be coached the same as my friend, right? And we still talk about her to this day, me and my buddy, because it was hell, right? It was like, I'm a very visual learner. He learns through verbal communication. And some things stuck with me, didn't stick with him, and vice versa, right? So feedback I get from my team is like, I need to be coached this way. Right? Don't worry about how you coach them. This is how I need to be coached. You want to get the best out of me. Feedback I give them is coaching feedback, email feedback, prospect feedback. So it goes both ways, right? So I'm curious, in your sales career, what has been the most influential piece of feedback that you've received?
Yeah, so it definitely was in my first SDR role when I was at Decide. And being that it was a startup, there really was no training put in place. It was like, hey, here's our sales force. Let's get some meetings on the calendar. So I was just spraying and praying, reaching out to everyone. And what my manager kind of helped me realize was the benefit and also the potential from being super personalized and super strategic. And we completely revamped my entire cadences. We changed to like a 9-touch cadence, and it made a world of a difference. So whether it was spending 5 minutes finding 2 facts on their LinkedIn, maybe it was sending them a quick Loom video, or it was, sending an email and then just ringing them like right after the email and using that as something to start the conversation. That's the biggest advice I've definitely received, and seen the results like immediately of just being personalized. And even sometimes, like, if they had an office nearby, maybe we'd show up in the office, bring a couple pizzas, bring some donuts, shake some hands, or even at conferences, like just looking at people's name tags, like just being more aware of who you're reaching out to, why you're reaching out, and why now. Like, why are you actually having a conversation? Why should they listen to you? Makes a world of a difference.
For sure. Yeah, I just got off a meeting with our co-founder earlier. He's like, we need to get our salesmen out there shaking hands and kissing babies.
Yeah.
Cool. So a couple more questions. I'll pass it over to you. Log off. And these more of the fun ones. You log off the call today. You're sitting down with your fiance watching Netflix. Oh shit! I wish Greg knew this one thing about me. What is that one thing?
What is that one thing? I would say that one thing would just be kind of resiliency that I would say I have, and that just come from being in sales for so long. Like I mentioned, I started in sales at 14. When I was 18, I got licensed in real estate. So I started off like getting cussed out by for sale by owners, making $300 a day. And I've seen it all in sales. So I would just say that's the one thing. Like, I'm very resilient. I'm ready for a challenge when it comes to, a startup. On the last interview, we were speaking, and it's like you guys are pretty much trying to like double the company size, head count. So just resiliency, and as well, like, I'm ready for a challenge. I'd love to come along the challenge.
Love that. 2 more questions. I'll pass over to you. If you owned a t-shirt company, what would the slogan of your company be and why?
T-shirt company, the slogan for that t-shirt. I would say it probably would be like focus on the present moment. Like, the present moment is a gift, because that's really all we have. So that's definitely what the t-shirt would be. Probably be like a cool gift wrap, something on the back of the t-shirt.
Cool. Final question. I'll hand it over to you. Personally or professionally, what are you most proud of?
Yeah, most proud of, I would say, just definitely, I would say starting my own virtual hiring agency, and just seeing the growth, like, personally, that I've gotten from that has been amazing. Because, you're, as a founder, as an entrepreneur, you're wearing a million different hats, you're juggling a million different things, and you really get to learn what business is, which is helping other people, seeing what their problem is, and then bringing them a solution. And it's more about the journey, and like, how does your client or how does your customer feel during that process? It's not just about, hey, this is the end goal, but it's about how was the process, how did you make them feel until you got to the end goal. That's what's going to make them refer other people, tell other people, and bring you word of mouth business to make your life easier. So that's what I would say for sure.
Love that. Cool. Love to pass it over to you. Answer any question you have for me.
Yeah, definitely. So my first question would be just kind of, what does your outbound process look like now? Like, what are some of the tools you're using? What is like the kind of philosophy that you have, and just what it looks like?
Good question. So we rolled out our true outbound motion like last week, right? February 1st was really the big one. Tool wise, so we just rolled out Apollo on Monday.
Oh, nice.
So I'm not sure if you're familiar with them, but basically it's a ZoomInfo competitor. Then we utilize HubSpot as like our engagement tool, right? So like the way you utilize Salesloft is the way we utilize HubSpot. So it's our CRM. I'm assuming if you're on Salesloft, you're probably on Salesforce also.
Yeah.
HubSpot is basically it's
Salesforce,
a
lot more user friendly,
and it's all in one platform. So we use that. We just rolled out an account book. Right, so every SDR now owns 400 accounts
Nice.
within their territory. Right, so we split the country up into 3 regions. So we have SDR supporting the West, the Central, and the East. Every SDR owns their account book within that territory. Sorry, I'm just getting blown up on Slack right now.
No, you're all good.
About the account books. So that's kind of how we're going about it. And then we created like call scripts, and I don't really call them scripts. I call them talk tracks. I don't believe everyone's talk track is different. A script is more like a guideline. Roll that out. Sequences. We're trying to get to more persona-based sequences. Right, you can't talk to a managing partner the same way you talk to like a case manager.
No.
Their priorities are going to be very different. So making sure that we speak to them, that's going to resonate with them, and how we're going to solve their specific problem is kind of where we're going. Is kind of where we're aiming to go.
Nice. And then what would you say is like the most common objection your sales team hears?
We only have too many competitors. We're like the first to market in our space. So the big one is belief in AI.
Yeah.
Right, like legal services space hasn't really been tapped into from a technology perspective in a very long time.
No, it hasn't.
So
It's
belief in
almost
technology
ancient.
is one. Like you're speaking to people who it's a very manual process. They've been doing it the same for 20 years. Why fix something that's not broken? Right, is AI truly going to be the way I like it?
Yeah.
Right, we call it what we have here something that's called human in the loop. So our biggest team here actually is our legal ops team. So it's former insurance adjusters, paralegals, case managers. We brought on full time. So every single demand that gets put through our AI also has a human looking at it, which kind of eases some doubters. But I would say, right, like people who are not early adopters to technology is definitely our biggest objection at the moment.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. What would you say is the biggest value prop that you'll use to just kind of ease some of those fears?
One more time.
What would you say is the best value prop that you'll use to ease some of those fears?
So the human in the loop is a big one, right? So them knowing that we actually have these former insurance adjusters, we have case managers, paralegals, attorneys, all on staff is a big one. Right. The other one is bandwidth is a big one when we speak to case managers and paralegals, right? Like how many demands per month can your team produce manually? How many can you guys take on with technology, right? So having them bringing in more business by utilizing AI, right? And then the third one would be settling cases at a faster speed and at a higher value is a big one for us.
Okay.
So the way these lawyers get paid is it's a percentage of the settlement.
Right.
Right. So let's say they get paid 20%, right? So 20% of a $100,000 case, or do you want 20% of a $500,000 case, right? So what we've done is we built software that predicts what a settlement is worth. So being able to do that at scale is bringing in more revenue for these firms. Plus, bringing on more. They're taking on more cases at a time.
A lot more efficient. Okay, I like that.
100%. Efficiency is the name of the game.
Okay, sweet. I would say next question. What are some of the KPIs and metrics that you're looking for in this role?
Good question. So right now, we have what I hold the team accountable for is 50 dials, 50 emails per day.
Okay.
The way I've got to that number is we assume a 10% call connect rate. So ideally looking for 5 call connects on a daily basis. From a quota perspective, it's all about sales qualified opportunities. And the quota was 20. We reduced it, which was the team loved it. On February 1st, we reduced it to 12.
Okay.
So my goal is to have like 80% of the team this quarter to be at 100% the goal.
Nice.
So yeah, trying to create a culture of winning for sure.
Nice. I love that. And when it comes to like just a sales qualified opportunity, I'm assuming just that's like demo set and ran.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Sweet. Okay. Nice. I know we've only got a couple more minutes. My biggest, like, last question that I definitely want to know. I know you've been there 4 or 5 months or so. What would you say, just based on everything like you've learned and like how fast you guys are growing, if you were to just start the rollover today? Like anything that you would do differently, or just advice that you would give to someone who's starting new in the role?
Thinking. I'll give you an unpopular answer if that's good with you.
Yeah, that's cool.
Don't get too comfortable, right? And what I mean by that is, no, we're not getting rid of people, right? What I mean by that is we are moving so fast that processes change on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Right? So be an early adapter, right? When a process, right? Prime example is I flipped the switch overnight from inbound team to outbound team, right? On the back end, I was creating this outbound process, creating everything we needed to do to open up the floodgates for outbound and be ready to go immediately. I was working on it and flipped the switch on, right? And the team had two options, right? Option A was F this, right? Like, this was not what I signed up for. Option B was accept it, embrace the challenge, and improve your sales capabilities. That was the route that every single person on the team took, right?
Loved it.
So again, like, don't get too comfortable being an inbound role because it could change tomorrow, right? Again, depending on our inbound stuff, if we get an influx of inbounds, maybe
Right,
I open that up to SDRs, right? So again, it's like, just don't get too comfortable because things might change. Own what you're doing and be a master at it, but be an early adapter to change, because the pace we are growing, the speed we are moving, things are going to change very quickly.
Yeah.
And it's important to be that early adapter and accept the change.
Okay, sweet. I like that a lot. That makes sense.
What else you got? Anything else?
No, nothing else. Last question would just be, what are the next steps? I definitely love what we talked about today.
For one question to you: are you in any final later stages?
No, like final rounds, no later stages. I've been interviewing with a couple others, like second round as well. So nothing finalized yet.
Okay, cool. So next steps is I am meeting with our recruiting team, I believe Friday morning before you wake up, morning on the East Coast.
Yeah.
It's a 4-step interview process, this being your second. The next one would be a really quick written assessment. So essentially we'll send you 3 prompts with all the information you need. It's write me a net new cold email, you called me, send me a follow-up email, met me at an event, send me a follow-up email, right?
Okay.
I always tell for someone who's been in SDR before, it's 30 minutes max. Final step, it would most likely be either one of two things. It would either be a conversation with an AE manager, or it would be a conversation with one of our co-founders.
Okay, sweet.
All depends on his schedule. So I'm gonna connect with Annie Friday morning. So I would say be on the lookout for an email from her either later Friday or latest early next week.
Okay, sweet. That sounds like a plan.
Cool, man. I appreciate it. If you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
Appreciate you, Greg. Have a good rest of the day, man.
All right. You too.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
Bye.